What's going on, real ones? BCHQ, back with another reaction. This one is a speech reaction, the second one I've done. First one was Muhammad Ali, go check that if you haven't seen it. This one's Lowkey, he's a rapper and kind of like activist. And this one is a speech he did for the Oxford Union, so let's get into it.
Oxford University, with all of the illustrious history that it has, surely it can come up with something less reductive than the Arab world to refer to millions of human beings. I'm sorry. Surely we have consensus here that human beings are interconnected and interdependent, and in fact the planet is not split into separate worlds. We've come far enough. No? The point I would like to make is that there are three major problems with the premise of this debate. So, number one, as I said, upon the basis of the planet not being split into separate worlds, we know that as inheritors of Ugaritic lineage, a language thousands of years old, believed to be the precursor to Hebrew and Phoenician, Palestinians, as other Arabic speakers, enjoy a special solidarity. What does it say? 91% of respondents of the poll carried out in Arabic-speaking societies said that Israel was the greatest threat to their security. That's 91% of respondents. 87% of respondents said that they would oppose their countries recognizing Israel on a diplomatic basis. 77% of them said that the Palestinian cause concerns all Arabs and not the Palestinian people here. So let's be absolutely unambiguously clear. All of the negotiations that have taken place and the Saudi peace deal that was spoken about here would only be achieved through dictatorial imposition. I'm sorry, Oxford Union.
Let me just say as well, if I'm not doing a lot of reaction in this, it's because I don't have a lot of knowledge on what he's talking about, but I'm just listening myself, so I'm learning too.
You can't have it both ways. You can't say, on one hand, that the Arab world needs more democracy, but on the other hand, that those governments that exist through military dictatorial imposition are somehow representative. I'm sorry, it doesn't make sense. What are the main points that people that responded to this poll have with the Palestinian cause? They say, number one, Article 11, UN Resolution 194. The Palestinians have the right to return home. It is affirmed again and again and again. What else do they say? They say that when they see Palestinians trying to return home, 70% of the population of Gaza are refugees. When they try to return home and are targeted in complete violation of Protocol 1 amendment of the Geneva Conventions. They see Palestinians being prevented from returning to their homes, being prohibited under the Apartheid Convention and the Rome Statute of the International Criminal Court. And it's in fact, Human Rights Watch made absolutely clear that the people on the Great March of Return were not armed. However, what else do people in Arabic-speaking societies say? They say that UN Resolution 3246 makes absolutely clear that the Palestinians have the right to armed resistance as an occupied people. Would we say that the British mandate, being the author of the apartheid reality that the Palestinians live under now, when we look at this fact that the United States giving $3.3 billion in aid to Israel in 2019, this year, and $38 billion over a decade, would it be conceivable for us to use such reductive phrases as the Anglo-Saxon world has failed the Palestinians? No, it wouldn't. When we look at the billions worth of trade which exists between the State of Israel and the EU, when we look at Avigdor Lieberman even suggesting that Israel joins the EU, and even Berlusconi when he was leading Italy saying Israel should join the EU, would we ever say the European world has failed the Palestinians? No, we would not. The other point, main problem with this, is the deficit of democracy and the correlation that exists between Arab governments that have more democratic accountability and their stand with the Palestinian cause. When people took to Tahrir Square in Egypt, did we support them? Yes, we did. What was the main nucleus of those movements that took to the street? They were people that were set up as popular committees in solidarity with the Palestinian Intifada of 2000. When we look at what happened in Tunisia, and we see that the first president of democratic Tunisia following the revolution revolution. Mohammed Marzouki, what did he do in 2015? He boarded a boat and tried to break the illegal siege of Gaza. What happened to that Democrat? He was detained by the Israelis and deported and not allowed to enter Gaza as he wished. When we look at the democratically elected government in Egypt, what was their stance in 2012 when Israel were bombing a defenseless population? They sent the Prime Minister of Egypt at that time, Hisham Qandil, to stand in solidarity with the Palestinian people. There were over 14 sabotage operations against the gas pipeline going from Egypt to Israel. 40 to 50% of Israel's gas came from Egypt at that time, and it was sabotaged. By who? By Egyptian citizens who said, you know what, we don't want to sell gas to Israel, actually. That's our democratic will. And the democratically elected government at that time cut off that pipeline, and still to this day, it does not run. You know why? Because these types of relations between Israel and Arabic-speaking states can only be achieved through dictatorial military imposition. So, we look also, we see clearly that Palestinian solidarity in Arabic-speaking countries not only has been...
Like as I said, I don't really know what he's talking about because I don't really watch a lot of news and that, and so I'm not clued up with current events and such. But what I do want you to know is that when you check out his music, he exposes stuff that and speaks about things that no other rappers do really, and his grammar, vocabulary is very high level. Like he's very well spoken. He knows how to get his points across, and just the way he talks, like his diction and all sorts. Like you can tell that he's very intelligent and reads a lot and learns a lot. So what he's saying, even though I don't understand it, I can guarantee that a lot of this is based on facts, and he wouldn't just come in to do something like this without having facts behind it. So
discouraged by governments who have been actively managing an unjust arrangement, we also see that Israel's assassination programs have gone all over the world, from Egypt to Jordan to Germany to Uruguay to Lebanon to Italy to France to Cyprus to Greece to Norway, Brazil, Tunisia, Belgium, Malta, and believed also Iran. How is it possible that solidarity with Palestinians can be discouraged to such an extent? It doesn't happen in a vacuum. And as I said before, these governments that are dictatorships are not representatives of the people. And the third major problem with this premise is when using the word failure, you assign a level of nobility to the intention of those who have been carrying out these negotiations with very, very limited levels of legitimacy. And that is, of course, a problem. What's the reality on the ground? 440 Israeli colonies in the West Bank, over 500,000 settlers illegally in the West Bank, 565 checkpoints, 300 flying checkpoints, Israeli settlements using 80% of the available water, and since 1967, Israel has constructed 133 military bases. That is what these negotiations have served as, a subterfuge to allow the continued expansion of Israeli colonization in Palestinian land and dispossession of Palestinian people. I call completely, unambiguously for you to very clearly reject this motion, because you are not just condemning the government of Saudi Arabia or these dictatorships around the world, you are actually condemning the person who opens up their home to the Palestinians, who supports the Palestinians, who loves them in spite of this situation where they are being encouraged in a top-down, not bottom-up way, top-down way to reject Palestinians' legitimate aspirations. Thank you very much.
So that was Lowkey, Oxford Union speech. As I said, I don't really know what he's going on about, but I bet a lot of you that watch this will have more of an idea. So yeah, it's a different kind of reaction, as I said. I'm not going to just be doing music reactions, so any suggestions other than music as well, let me know in the comments. I don't want to fuck with the real ones.